Hi there. To preface, the conversation has already started. The start of this topic is, how far back do you think that megalithic structures go? So, um, essentially, Luke is like, I think the Egyptians knew so much more, but that's the thing, Luke, is that the Egyptians and the Atlanteans and the early Mesopotamians were basically all one civilization. You have to understand, it would have been the Sumerians literally just transcribing across Africa. Everyone can look this up. The Eye of Africa is actually what was known as Atlantis, and one of Plato's disciples talks about this. One of the dudes that Plato taught literally talks about this. He went to the Library of Alexandria before it was destroyed, found a piece of paper saying something about 3 rings and then 3 rings, because it was a mountain range that had water in between all 3 of them. And if you look at the Eye of Africa, that's exactly what it is. So unbeknownst to that, we're talking about basically just like generational systemic oppression, because that's what's been happening through our entire life and through all of our generations, actually. So it's just sort of really strange to think that now this is something that's actually becoming a fucking topic, even though it's been sort of a part of our world for the longest fucking time. The longest fucking time. America's pretty much a shithole. It's just everyone has access to all the amenities, you know what I mean? We're basically a third world country, it's just everyone has fucking water, but it's not necessarily clean water. So it's there's certain generational systemic boundaries that we're never gonna break. But when I say that, I don't mean never. I mean the fact that we were born into a system that already predistinguishes our death is sort of terrible. But on the other end of the stick, all of our presidents are picked. If you think that the presidents aren't Freemasons or just anything apart from that, then you're fucking stupid. Because Obama was a Freemason, and they don't tell you that, but that's the thing, because Bill Clinton had his fucking hand up Obama's ass literally his entire election. Wow, do what you want. Really, huh? That's how it works? So what does Trump do? He's just still talking shit. It's not like someone's hand is up his ass, though, you know what I mean? So it's just weird indifferences that you see within culture and how people react. So the basis of what I know as the human enemy is a frequential being. Now, they exist on multiple dimensions of reality. They exist on a lower dimension. Now, the goal is to bring us down to their dimension. And that's sort of the problem, because they feed off of pain and blood and sacrifice. And the only thing that's been happening of humans as of recently is pain, blood, and sacrifice. And on that note, it's sort of strange that no one of power or influence is actually taking any side to this and making it an oppressive matter to the point where it's this actually needs to change. It's do you think fucking Taylor Swift cares? You think Kanye West cares? You think fucking anyone that's a fucking you think Tom Hanks gives a fuck? You think Mel Gibson gives a fuck? All those people are contracted by your deep state to make movies, music, media, all of it. It's all played out to keep people just constantly fucking asleep. And that's one of the problems with America, is that that's how this country was made. That's how this world was made. Satan doesn't can't exist all over. He can only exist in one place. God can exist everywhere. So the only thing that is stopping us from retaking our entire civilization is realizing that we've been systematically oppressed by a race of interdimensional beings that we cannot necessarily detect unless we ourselves actually, stop this almost de-evolution from our environment. All the chemicals that we eat and process every day, that goes to our fucking brain. You know why people have lymph node problems and why people fucking are smelly nowadays? Everyone is smelly. Let me tell you that. Everyone is fucking smelly. I'm standing in the woods right now. It's fucking warm. Like, our lymph nodes are in our brain and our armpit. How weird is that? Goes to our brain, to our armpit. What do you think that means? That means that our neurotoxins go to our armpits. That's what our lymph nodes do. I'm not saying that that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that that's what they actually fucking do. So, like, that sort of explains a lot if someone has a dietary issue and they're fucking, like, I don't know. There's just so much shit that I can't necessarily speak about because it's all within the line of health, and humans don't necessarily predistinguish that right now. That was gross, Luke. I really fucking got that one. And there's just so much information that we can't necessarily give to people, and that's why I wanted to make this like 10-15 minute video just really fast, because I wanted to see how much information I could really put in there and to see if I needed to edit it at all, because the other versions of this video that I've done have all been either super fucking long or way too short, and they don't hit enough topics. So essentially the government already knows exactly what you're doing always, but that's sort of the point, you know, like they can't stop an entire civilization. They are only based on illusion. The fact that we quote unquote lose rights. Look, I'm in the middle of the woods. I love nature. Do you think I'm a problem to nature? Me and this tree are sharing air. Do you guys know that like electronically, humans really shouldn't be wearing shoes because that's what grounds us and that's what keeps our electric flow going? So like when we're wearing shoes, just imagine humans as like a processor and a capacitor, right? So we're breaking down electricity, but we're also storing it, and we're also, you know, exhuming it at a certain frequency constantly. Now, when we ground ourselves, we take ourselves off of the circuit. So basically, we're just a battery that isn't getting charged. Now, if you look at all wildlife, what are they doing? They aren't secluded. They're constantly in the giant expanse of electrons. Nature, the giant stream of energy. What's known as geomancy is actually what the Egyptians used. That is the channeling of the earth energy from the earth. It's also known as prana, or the Nazis called it vril energy. Now you'll hear vril, exactly. You'll hear the word vril and be like, oh, the fucking lizards. But like, that's sort of the point, is that this goes back further than we can actually fucking tell, because the Vril Society in Germany was literally psychics that walked around with Hitler so he didn't get fucking blown up, because there's like evidence that they were like, hey, you should watch out on this day. And he was like, okay, I'm just gonna not be there. And you know what do you know, they were fucking right. And it's just like, okay, so that obviously shows that when we bought the Nazi scientists after World War II, that means they started our psychological problems. Like, not problems, that means they started our psychological construct, our systematic construct, our psychological system within America. MK Ultra is a direct line from Operation Paperclip, just like NASA. So our space program, as well as a large part of our mental health program, is almost like mind wiping. But it's like, oh, give me your money so I can do research, and then not tell you, but also like it's still under nefarious, and you can't necessarily like hold us to any of that, because what are you gonna do? Try to find evidence in a place that you can't get into? So it's like, it all just becomes sort of hush hush. And it's just really funny. Was that a turtle? It's just so strange to see that the era of humans doesn't necessarily end. And I think that the start of that is us realizing that we are only mortal beings, and our time here on this planet is so very important, because it is us that changes the world. It is us that, you know, digs this dirt. We are the men and women of this planet, and we are the life force. This is our home. Yeah, there's a bunch of bugs on this planet, but guess what? You know how many of those bugs need to die so they keep the lizards and other wildlife alive? Do you know what an ecosystem is? Do you know that trees give us oxygen? Do you feel that? Do you feel the electricity all around you? There's just so many things that we've lost connection of. We have a geomagnetic sensor within our brain that literally absorbs energy from the earth. That's what that is, geomagnetic energy. Our brain absorbs the frequency of the earth. You can look this up. This is called the Schumann resonance. This is literally the frequency that we download information at. It's so fucking crazy. Like, how much of a thought is that? We're downloading information psychically from our brains. Well, yeah, if your brain's actually open to that. We've been generationally drowned out. So, like, who's to say if I'm actually fully awake or not? You know what I mean? Like, my pineal gland could be totally fucking, like, absolutely destroyed right now. You know what I mean? I could have a rock in my brain and I wouldn't know. But my point is that I need to get this information out to people, and, you know, just fucking anything helps with the amount of sharing and giving people information. You know what I mean? Like, tell all your friends what you know. Like, do your own research and tell them to do their own research, but tell them everything. Like, if you have open-minded friends, or just anyone that'll fucking listen, you need to tell them. You need to make them aware that there is a secret society on this fucking planet that wants to literally wipe out most of the general population so that the rest of the humans are more easily, like, controlled. Now, that's not gonna fucking happen. Do you know what they want to do? Look, if Bill Gates already fucking controls the weather, then what do you think's stopping them from, like, literally turning Florida inside out? Fucking nothing. The fact that we have the evidence to actually state that, that's what's stopping them. How fucking crazy is that? The fact that us pre-calling them out on their bullshit is actually what's stopping them from doing it. So it's like, wow, you realize the 5D chess game turns into a fucking 6D chess game when fucking, like, half the world decides to jump ship and be a fucking, like, just, an international sadness conglomerate. It's like, yeah, fucking Black Lives Matter and all lives matter and all this shit, but who the fuck cares? The point is that, you know, none of this would happen if systematically we weren't raised with pre-indistinguished racism. The fact that that exists is literally an outcome of Masonic culture. That's literally, like, do you realize that 90% of cops are in the Freemasons? I'm not even fucking with you on this. This is coming from, like, a sheriff and a man that was literally, like, you know, got up to 33rd. So, like, you know, fuck with me on that one. Because literally 90% of cops are Freemasons. Do you know what that means? That means that they, in fact, are basically the foot soldiers on the whole fucking, you know, dimensional alien jerk-off party where they just sort of, you know, fuck off on humans for the whole time. But, like, the point of that is literally to just kill us. That's the point, is that we have a dimensional parasite that has leached its way into our society. Now, during World War I and World War II, they could do this openly, right? But now they have to hide it. Now they have to hide the blood magic. Now, when I say blood magic, I mean psychological vampirism. Watching someone, like, fade away and, you know, grasp for their life as you're ripping it from them. It's literally energy. The only currency that matters on this universe is energy. And that's what they feed off of. They're dimensional beings. So, on the basis of that, they wanted to release genetically modified mosquitoes into Florida and Texas. Now, I don't necessarily think that's a good idea. Did you ask how many people in Florida and Texas, you know, like, hey, should we release these genetically modified mosquitoes? Really? Luke, what do you think that could do? Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think that could fucking do? You know, we tried that once. Yeah, we fucking tried that once. You know what came out of it? Love bugs. Because you know what happened? they were like, damn, these don't do anything. You know what's gonna happen when they do it again and the mosquitoes breed, and then the mosquitoes breed and then become infertile, and then we lose half of our fucking wildlife population because they decided, like, hey, you know, maybe we should take out like the big old staple in Florida fucking ecology. Haha. Maybe we should kill half the fucking bugs that all life naturally lives on in this wildlife center. You know, like, wow, is it big brain? Let me dump shit in the fucking retention pond, huh? Like, oh god. You start realizing, like, it's no one wants to take responsibility for this planet, and that's what, truthfully, Generation Z and all the generations, and that's just what, fuck any pre-indistinguished thought that is established by our system. We need to unlearn absolutely everything the system has taught us, because it is not the proper way to live, and it does not exhume love and life, and it is the exact opposite. Satan doesn't want you to know he exists on this planet for a reason. That's the whole goal, right? You know, like, to crush mankind. What do you think's happening right now? We're not being smart around all of this. A pregnant woman was shot 2 times in the stomach with rubber bullets. She had a miscarriage. I think that those cops should be held responsible. I also think that ladies should be held responsible. Why the fuck would you go to a rally with a baby? Nevertheless, a baby that can't run away. It's almost fucking... I just rub my snot on a tree. You'll like it. Probably not, honestly, but... It's just, the dark, deep state of America and the planet that we live on. And there's certain parts of it that we will never be able to understand, but, you know, talking about them and, you know, realizing that we live in a fractal environment, you know, like, this is made of waves. This is fucking made of waves. How cool is that? This thing is alive. But guess what? It's made of frequency. It's vibrating. You know what I mean? Like, it's so fucking awesome. Just living. It itself is a psychedelic experience, and you never even have to take any substance to have any weird shit in life happen to you. Because guess what? Life's just fucking weird. That's like sort of the part of it. Our brain literally makes one of the strongest fucking like trip chemicals on the entire universe. Dimethyltryptamine is literally made in all life. Shit you not, all life. Me and this plant share molecules. Like, we're of the same planet. That's literally the same thing. Carbon life forms exhume carbon life. And at a certain point, they become frequential life forms, and you start to have a cell structure crystallize, which means that we're raising in frequency ever so slowly, but the ones that are actually raising aren't the ones that are actually dying and or reproducing. So it sort of brings up this whole thing on, is it actually evolution if it's not pressing forward? And I don't think it is, if it's not taken under the right determination, because unless we genuinely take our entire society back overnight, over the span of months or years, if I have to fucking grind my teeth and nails up to the White House from fucking Florida, you know what I mean? Anything for freedom of man, because in this society, the only thing we are is numbers. So, with that being said, this is probably the first YouTube video that's going to go up on the channel. Other than the intro, I would just like to thank everyone. Please share this video. Please just, you know, do your own research. You know, think smart. Don't even think about skepticism. Skepticism's like the first start. I have like a whole thought process on where like information's true or not. And honestly, it's such a strange world. We don't even understand how to begin understanding the place that we live. Peace, love, happiness. I hope all of you stay very safe in these times.